Okay, we're live now on YouTube.
Okay, am I able to share my screen?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can do it now. Oops, sorry. Cool. All right, so do you want it all in English or do you want to translate a
I
little bit?
think that I translate the information relevant of
Okay,
you.
sounds good. All right, so hi everyone. My name's Jacinta and I'm from Melbourne Poly. So I work in the international office there. And yeah, we have Lily from Blue Studies, who will probably translate some parts of the presentation. So I'll start off about talking about Melbourne. So Melbourne Polytechnic is based in Melbourne only. And I really love Melbourne as a city. Actually, I grew up outside of Melbourne and I moved to Melbourne a couple of years ago. And I think it's like my favorite place to live. It's just, it's so cool. I think, yeah, I've put some of the reasons. So it's kind of known as Australia's best student city. And I think the reasons why is, we have a lot of different sporting events, entertainment, so lots of, music festivals, concerts, even, huge art exhibitions. There's just something always happening. And it's a very culturally diverse city. So you can find people from all over the world living in Melbourne. And yeah, the restaurants and cafes are amazing. You can get food from anywhere. So, if you're from Colombia, you'll find Colombian restaurants, or Chile, same thing. So yeah, there's food from everywhere. And it's always, really good quality food. Coffee culture is really big in Melbourne too. So we love to go out for coffee. And I don't drink coffee myself, but I've heard that the coffee is really good. So we've got a good reputation for coffee anyway. And it's really easy to get around, which I think is really good if you're an international student. We have trams, trains, buses. So basically, to get to uni or to get to your job, it is super easy no matter where you're living in Melbourne.
Okay.
Do you want? Yeah, sorry, Lily.
All information is clear. I think that is so clear in this moment.
Okay, I can go on to the next slide then.
Yeah, yeah.
And just on Melbourne Polytechnic, so maybe why you want to consider studying with us. So we do have over 100 years in history. So, we've been an education provider for a very long time with a lot of experience. We are actually a government provider, which I know in some countries government provider doesn't mean necessarily better, but in Australia, government providers are of a really high quality. So, we have really strong connections with, I suppose, the industries that we, teach our courses in, which is really good for students when they've graduated and they're looking for jobs. But we've got over 30,000 students, so both local and international students. And to really give you an idea of the breakdown, about 1,300 of our students are international. So really majority of our students are actually Aussies or local students. So I think that's a good thing. If you're coming to Australia to study, we can guarantee that you'll have a really Australian education. Saying that, we do have students from over 70 different countries. So not just from South America, we get students from parts of Asia, Europe, Africa. There's probably other continents that I can't think about, but we get students from a lot of different countries. So it's good. You'll have the opportunity to mix with a lot of Aussies and, international students from different countries. We have 8 different campuses. I'll talk a bit about this in a moment, but it really depends which course you study as to which campus you'll be located at. And at Melbourne Poly, we do term payments. So basically that means that your payments are divided. And so in 1 year, you would have 4 payments. So they're probably going to be scheduled about every 3 months. And, to accept your offer and get your COE, which you use to apply for your visa, we just need the first term payment, basically to, so you can lodge for your visa. We don't have any application or enrollment fees, so it doesn't cost you anything to apply with us. We only ask for your tuition fees. If you're doing some courses like cookery or patisserie, there will be material fees, but most of our courses have no material fees except for those ones in hospitality. Quality or affordable education. So like I mentioned before, we really offer good quality being a government provider, but also very affordable, particularly if you look at our bachelors or our masters. They've all got accreditation with a governing body in the area that they are delivered in. So, for engineering, they have accreditation with Engineers Australia, which means, they offer very good quality, but also the prices, they're about half the price of some other universities here in Australia. And our classes are actually quite small, which I think is really good, especially in this environment with COVID. I think, a lot of students are preferring a small class with a lot more support. But yeah, they're quite small really because they are, when we have face-to-face learning, they are quite practical. We do focus on theory as well, but there's a lot of practical components in our courses. And I think the other good thing about Melbourne Poly is we have a lot of pathway options. So really you could start with a certificate, and then you could lead right up to a bachelor or even a master's. So I suppose the good thing is there's a lot of different options depending on what you want to study, for how long, what your price range is. So we can really work with you to find the right, study option for you, because we have a lot of different pathways, which is very handy. And like I mentioned before about public transport, our campuses are pretty much located right next to a major train station, or if not, they're really easy to get to with trams and buses. So all of our campuses are really easy to access. And we do provide free airport pickups. So when the travel ban lifts and you can come and study in Melbourne, you can definitely arrange free airport pickup with us. And just to let you know, we do have prayer rooms on all of our campuses. All of our campuses have a lot of different facilities, including, libraries, counsellors on campus, cafeterias. That's just to name a few, but yeah, all of our campuses, they'll have those, main kind of facilities that students are after. Did you want to translate anything, Lily, or happy for me to keep going?
Ok, no. Básicamente, pues, ¿por qué estudiar en Melbourne Polytechnic? Bueno, básicamente, y dando como una especie de resumen, Melbourne Polytechnic es una institución que ofrece programas de inglés, técnicos y bachelors, que son programas de pregrado, y hay unos 2 o 3 programas de maestría. Ellos son una institución que tiene diferentes estudiantes internacionales de casi 70 países diferentes, tiene 8 campuses, tiene también toda la parte de pagos flexibles, es decir, si van por un año pueden pagar el primer term sin ningún problema, no tiene cobro por aplicación, por la matrícula, las clases son pequeñas. Prácticamente cuando están los chicos estudiando un programa técnico, tiene muchos o múltiples opciones para hacer pathway, es decir, para entrar directamente a una universidad. También tiene un muy fácil acceso al transporte público, se organiza también la parte de recogida al aeropuerto, y tiene pues múltiples salones que pueden servir para para muchas cosas, tienen biblioteca, tienen muchas cafeterías, tiene bastantes accesos a otros salones que ofrece las instalaciones de Melbourne Polytechnic. Listo. Please continue.
Thank you. So this is just a map really of our campuses that we have. So like I mentioned, we have 8. So these pink ones, they're the different campuses that we have. Preston is really probably our main campus where majority of the international students are. And that's where our international office is located at also. But yeah, Preston's about 30 minutes from the Melbourne CBD. But I think a lot of our students, they'll find that they're living in these inner city suburbs anyway. And as you can see, these are the train lines that basically take the students to the campus. So Epping, right across from a train station, which is handy. Same with Preston. And Collingwood and Prahran are very close to the city. They're about 10 minutes away. So they've got trams, buses, trains, so they're really easy to get to. But yeah, one thing I will mention is we have the training centres. So Yanyan Farm and Eden Park, particularly there for our agriculture degrees. So agriculture is based at the Epping Campus. And you can probably see that Eden Park and Yanyan Farm, they're not actually on the map because they're a bit further away. But the good thing is if you do agriculture, you do have your practical classes at the farm. So basically we have a bus that will take you from Epping to the farm. So you don't really need to worry about transport to the farm. We cover that for you. All right, that's it for campuses. Oh, you're on mute, Lily.
Excuse me. Básicamente son 8 campuses que tiene Melbourne Polytechnic. De esos 8 campuses, pues el que es como el más grande de todos es Preston, que es como el más centrado. Igual tiene otros varios que están muy cerca a toda la parte de coger el tren. Hay 3 centros de entrenamiento, generalmente se usan para programas de agricultura. Están un poco retirados de la ciudad, entonces ellos ofrecen la parte de un bus que los lleva hacia allá, sale del campus de Epping y los lleva directamente hacia la zona de entrenamiento. Casi todas los campuses tienen todos los programas que se pueden pues, conocer. Igual Preston también ofrece la parte del inglés. Entonces, esos son los 8 campuses que tienen, más los 3 centros de entrenamiento. Okay.
Cool. So I thought I would probably explain which courses that we have at each campus. So we have a lot of different courses, so I probably won't go into too much detail. But just to start off at Preston, we have our LECOS course, which is for those who want to study English. Then we have accounting, international business, engineering. This is just for the vocational engineering courses. Marketing, we have a hospitality school at Preston, which has a restaurant, so St. George's Restaurant, which is actually open to the public, and all of our students get their practical experience in the restaurant. And aside from that restaurant, we have 7 kitchens at Preston, so the hospitality school is quite large at Preston. Which, yeah, you can see it covers commercial cookery, patisserie, event management, and yeah, obviously hospitality. We have education early years, so we actually have like a childcare facility on our Preston campus. So the students will get practical experience at the facility on campus. But we have this, like, I always call it like, you know, in the police movies or TV shows, there's like that mirrored window, so our students can actually watch the children and observe. So I think that's pretty cool. They get to have real life observation as part of their class as well. And yeah, they also have practical experience outside of the campus, they do work placement as well. So it's a very practical course. And then we have interior decoration, building construction, architectural building design, community services, and information technology.
Ok, no. Básicamente Jacinta nos estaba contando acerca de todo lo que ofrece Preston Campus. Básicamente, pues lo pueden ver en el listado que aparece ahí. Pues el principal sería Hélicos, que es la parte de cursos de inglés. Tienen casi todas las carreras, como les dije anteriormente. Está pues la parte de ingeniería, ellos son muy fuertes en la parte de ingeniería. La parte de hospitality, tienen casi 7 cocinas dentro del campus de Preston, y también tienen un restaurante que ofrece también pues a todos los estudiantes o a todas las personas que quieran estar allá. Entonces es una parte muy grande de la parte de Preston, en la zona de hospitality. También tienen pues toda la parte de educación. Son también fuertes en la parte de Building and Construction, que es todo lo que tiene que ver con la parte técnica de, como de arquitectura, y los demás que ya son Community Services e Information Technology, que son los que generalmente ellos ofrecen, porque pues son carreras que tienen programas técnicos como diplomas, como certificados. Esto se ofrece en el de Preston Campus. Sí.
Thank you. And then we have Penn Campus. So we have information technology at this campus also. So this is probably our Bachelor of IT, our most popular course that we have for internationals. So you do have the choice of campus for this course. We have photography, music, focusing in sound production and performance. Commercial cookery, similar to IT, it's quite popular. So you do have the choice of Preston or Penn. At Penn, we have a cafe rather than a restaurant. So the classes are all the same, but you'll do your practical experience in the cafe rather than the restaurant. Also, while I'm talking about that, I'll just mention that a lot of our students that do commercial cookery, they'll do a pathway. So usually they'll do like their Cert 4 in commercial cookery, followed by maybe like diploma, advanced diploma of hospitality management. If you do the pathway, you can still choose Penn as your campus, but you'll have to do the diploma and advanced diploma at Preston. So most students, if they're doing a package, they'll generally choose Preston just so that they're at the same campus. But it's entirely up to you. Just know that you can't do your whole package at Penn. It's just the commercial cookery, which would be the first year of your study. And then we have theatre arts. So for those who like acting, live production and technical services. So, creating the sets for any theatre or, plays or anything. We have visual arts, which focuses on illustration, painting, screen making, and photography. And Auslan, I'm not sure if any of you guys have heard of Auslan, but it's Australian Sign Language. So this is like a language course so that you can learn the sign language that we use here in Australia.
Ok, no, pues este campus básicamente nos ofrece pues toda la parte de Information Technology, como hacia la parte de diseño hay bastante. Esta parte también ofrece otra parte del Commercial Cookery que nos explicaba Jacinta anteriormente, que se puede hacer pathway, es decir, tenemos ahí para poder que los estudiantes continúen con una management, que pues eso ayuda a todos los chicos para que continúen con sus estudios. Y pues la parte que ya nos explicaba sobre el Auslan.
Auslan, yeah.
Auslan. Es prácticamente como un lenguaje de señas que se enseña en Australia, bueno, en Melbourne, para las personas que quieran aprender el lenguaje de señas. Básicamente es eso.
Thanks. And then we have the Epping Campus. So this campus is quite large. The facilities are pretty cool. So we have engineering, technology, civil, So this is a 4-year bachelor degree, Bachelor of the Built Environment for those who are interested in architecture, building design, architectural, agriculture. So we have both diplomas and bachelors in agriculture, and conservation and land management. So at this campus, we have a few facilities that are kind of shared between the different courses. There's like a big warehouse with a lot of machinery, like forklifts and different things, for the agriculture or even the engineering students. And then we have a viticulture and winemaking center as one of the majors for the agriculture degree, as well as like a meat processing center. And then we have a tech school which has like 3D printers and laser cutters, which I know a lot of the architecture students use. So yeah, there's a lot of, I suppose, cool technology and facilities that we have at this campus specifically for these courses.
Ok, bueno, en este campus básicamente es un campus bastante grande porque básicamente está toda la parte de agricultura. También hay muchos talleres para hacer la práctica de todo lo que es ingeniería civil, todo lo que es de building design, toda esa parte. Ellos tienen, pues el campus es bastante grande porque tiene talleres muy grandes donde están todas, pues ustedes pueden ver en la foto. Básicamente son salones bastante grandes con talleres donde los chicos practican absolutamente todo lo que tiene que ver con ingeniería, toda la parte de diseño de building design y toda la parte de agricultura.
Cool. And then we have Fairfield, where we have our student accommodation. So this campus is pretty much in the middle of all of our campuses. And at this campus, I actually really love this campus. It's just really beautiful. But yeah, we have our music students, which, you go to the music department and you can hear them all practicing, and we have a big auditorium where they do lots of performances. There's also lots of different practice rooms with pianos in each of them for our music students. So yeah, really cool, unique course. We have illustration there as well, horticulture. We have like a big greenhouse where we basically the students will grow the plants. And then we actually have a nursery where we sell those plants to the public. So that's pretty cool. And then photography, we have like a studio and a dark room where, if students are interested in film, they can develop their film. But yeah, lots of different facilities for all of those courses. And graphic design, we have Apple computer labs. So, people can use the Mac for design for the graphic design course.
Bueno, en este campus básicamente está también, pues vuelvo a decir, es uno de los campus también bastante grandes. Algo que tiene de diferente con los otros es que ellos ofrecen la parte de acomodación, es decir, que tienen todo su zona para que los estudiantes tengan la acomodación en este campus. También tienen toda la parte de producción musical con sus salones exclusivos para toda la parte del desempeño de todos los estudiantes de música, la parte de horticultura, fotografía, fotoimagen, y en la parte de diseño gráfico también tienen unos salones bastante completos. Pues yo tuve la oportunidad de estar ahí y vi, por ejemplo, la parte del área de jewelry design. Entonces habían bastantes opciones para los estudiantes, todo el material, todas las herramientas. Son salones bastante completos para poder que los chicos ejerzan y hagan las prácticas de todo lo que están aprendiendo.
And then we have Collingwood Campus, which we just have one course here for international students. So this is for those interested in film. It's a screen and media course. So you can see in the picture that we have, TV and broadcasting facilities. And yeah, the thing I really love about this course is we kind of cover basically everything you need to know to work in this industry. So the students, they'll do a lot of different projects where they'll write scripts, they'll cast the actors, they'll do the filming, the editing, directing, yeah, basically everything. So, when they graduate, a lot of them, they'll go, get jobs on different TV companies, or some will go and make their own films, but they're really equipped to do anything within that industry. And then Greensborough, I just thought I'd mention it, but we don't have any international student courses at the moment. But yeah, this is another campus that we have.
Bueno, pues este es un poco más específico, son 2 campus más que ofrece Melbourne Polytechnic. Pues Collingwood es donde ofrecen toda la parte como de televisión, screen, media, toda esa parte. Obviamente tienen sus salones adecuados para todo lo que tiene que ver con este tema. Y el otro pues es el de Heidelberg Campus, que es también donde es como un centro como de innovación que tiene Melbourne Polytechnic para ofrecer a los estudiantes.
And lastly, we have our Heidelberg campus. So this is where we have a lot of trades. So the only trade that we have available for international students is our bricklaying and blocklaying course. So yeah, that's the only trade that we have. And I did mention a bit before about our training centres. So I suppose just to give you like an idea of how big, like 10-hectare vineyard and lavender farm, it's quite large. But yeah, we have cattle breeding facilities on these farms as well. So yeah, really impressive facilities, I suppose, especially for those agriculture courses, having, huge farms.
Bueno, con esta básicamente son los centros de entrenamiento. Básicamente aplica para las personas que están haciendo estudios en agricultura, en estudio de animales. Tienen pues obviamente como una hacienda muy grande para poder que todos los chicos practiquen todo lo que tiene que ver con la agricultura y la parte de animales, que es el enfoque que tienen ellos con sus centros de entrenamiento.
Sorry. I suppose I wanted to touch on what we're doing with COVID. So obviously there's a travel ban at the moment, and unfortunately we can't have any students coming to Melbourne to study if you're overseas. Hopefully it will change soon, but we don't know. So we do have a few options for those who are really eager to start their studies. So we have an intake in February, and basically these are the courses that are available if you want to start studying online. The whole idea is that you would start your studies online. Once the travel ban is lifted, you would come to Melbourne and finish your degree in Melbourne, hopefully on campus, depending on what's happening with the restrictions. But yeah, basically some of the courses available, we have our Master of Professional and Practicing Accounting, Bachelor of Accounting, Bachelor of the Built Environment, Bachelor of Business, Engineering Technology Civil, Hospitality Management, and Information Technology. So I suppose the good thing about all of these courses is they're involved in our internship program as well. So this internship program is usually in the last semester. So I would think, hopefully in 3 years' time, when you're in your final year of studies, you would hopefully be on campus and be able to do your internship. And, this can also help if you're looking to apply for a post-study work visa. The government has confirmed that online study will count towards your post-study work visa. So I know a lot of students, they don't want to study online, but I think given that, you can, always do a working visa after, and with the internship that will help and everything, I do think it's worthwhile considering if you're really wanting to get into your studies sooner rather than later.
Ok, bueno, básicamente estos son ya los programas que son un poco más enfocados a la parte de educación superior. Pues como ya todos podrán ver, está muy claro, todos los bachelor que tienen, que son los pregrados, el máster que tienen en Professional and Practicing Accounting, todos los programas tienen internship, quiere decir que todos tienen prácticas, tienen también el permiso para la postgraduate visa, que es la que se maneja cuando se han hecho programas de más de 2 años. Entonces el gobierno australiano les da a los estudiantes ese permiso de trabajo por sus 2 años cuando hacen cualquiera de estos programas. Mm,
And of course, I wanted to speak a bit about ALICOS. So basically at Melbourne Poly, we do general English. So we have all levels available. And we do have some promotional prizes for Latin America. So for Colombian students, the price is $260 per week. And for Mexican, Chilean, Peruvian, Brazilian students, it's $220 per week. And yeah, basically you'll need to study in 5-week blocks as a minimum, but there's no application or enrollment fees, so it doesn't cost anything to apply. We have free airport pickup once again, and we don't have any material fees. So if you are on campus, we have free textbooks for you. At the moment, it is online, so the teaching staff, they can't send you the textbook, but they're providing all the materials for you anyway, so you don't need to worry about going out and buying any extra books or anything like that. We provide it all. So we do 20 hours per week. The class time is 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., Monday to Friday. Classes are always quite small, so they're, no more than 16 students. And like I mentioned before, we have set intakes, so there's 8 per year. And basically they're like every 5 weeks. So you have to do 5 weeks study at a time. You can't do let's say 12 weeks of English. You'd either need to do like 10 or 15, like 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, I think you get it. And we are offering ALICOS online at the moment. So it's only though if you are going to package with one of our courses. So if you were thinking about, let's say, doing a diploma of IT and you knew that your English wasn't at the right level to start, what you could do is start your English online with us. And then, pathway into your, let's say, diploma of IT. And yeah, then at least, you can get that head start and, start your English perhaps in your home country, whilst, there's a travel ban in place.
Bueno, básicamente esta parte de Hélicos es todo lo que ofrece Melbourne Polytechnic con todo lo que son los cursos de inglés. Básicamente tienen todos los niveles. Tienen pues un precio promocional para Colombia, estudiantes colombianos de $260 australianos la semana, y para los otros pues, de Latinoamérica como mexicanos, chilenos, de Perú, brasileños, tiene un valor de $220 por semana. No tiene matrículas, no tiene valor para aplicar. La recogida del aeropuerto es gratis, tiene los libros también gratis. Prácticamente son 20 horas por semana, de lunes a viernes de 8:30 a 1:30. Las clases son pequeñas, van de 6, como máximo 16 estudiantes. Tienen 8 intakes por año, quiere decir que son 8 entradas para el curso de inglés porque manejan bloques de 5 semanas. Y para los paquetes o los packages que hay de las personas que quieren hacer inglés con un programa de BET, es decir, de un programa técnico, pueden hacer, si lo desean desde el país en el que se encuentran, su inglés online y después ya unirse pues a la parte ya como tal del programa técnico. Esto es lo que ofrece pues Melbourne Polytechnic para todo lo que son los cursos de hélicos, que tiene que ver con todo lo que es inglés como segunda lengua.
And then I also wanted to talk about SLAM. So SLAM is our student life at Melbourne Poly. I suppose I like to talk about them because obviously it's not always all about the education. It's also about the community that we provide as a school. So a lot of our international students, they really love SLAM. On campus, I've just listed what they usually do. So they would do like day trips for the students, on and off campus events, different competitions and giveaways. They did, sporting and social programs, fundraisers, career workshops and trainings. So usually with Slam 2, they have a suggestion box on campus, and you can really request, anything that you want, and they'll really try their hardest to provide whatever you're asking, so long as it's nothing, too crazy. So I put down their Instagram and their Facebook, if you want to check them out. I'll get Lily to translate, but basically I'll show you on the next slide what they're doing at the moment with COVID. But this is what they usually do when things are happening on campus.
Básicamente, estos son programas que ofrecen ya cuando los chicos se encuentran en el campus. Son todas las actividades que ofrece Melbourne Polytechnic a los estudiantes que están, pues, obviamente estudiando con ellos. Son programas básicamente de ir a la playa, de ir al zoológico, todos los eventos que hay fuera y dentro del campus, competencias, toda la parte como social que ellos tienen, deportes, todo lo que son deportes, es lo que ellos ofrecen. Se llama SLAM porque pues es toda la parte como ya social que ofrecen para todos los estudiantes.
Thanks. And so this is what's been happening online. I think this was their schedule for October. It doesn't say. I think, yeah, this was last month's anyway. So I think it's just important to let you guys know that with COVID, obviously, even our students in Melbourne at the moment have been studying from home. But we haven't really, gone away. We're still doing these kind of events just virtually, which has been great. We had students that started their studies, in February, March. And in Australia, the pandemic kind of hit in March. And so unfortunately, those students didn't really have a lot of time to make friends, but we've had some feedback from quite a few of them that they've been attending these kind of events with SLAM, and they've felt like a real sense of community, even though, they just newly arrived to Melbourne, and then unfortunately everything went into lockdown, so they weren't able to socialize as much. But yeah, this is the thing. Even if you study online, we have these events with SLAM that you can attend. So yeah, they've been really good, social media workshops, language drop-ins. Maybe you'd be good at the Spanish language drop-in. You could probably help a few people like myself. And then we have, meditation, African dance workshop. Yeah, lots of different events, which, yeah, if you check out their socials, they'll have all of this kind of stuff for you to see.
Ok, no, pues básicamente son los eventos online que tienen también, pues teniendo en cuenta que en este momento que estamos con esta pandemia y todo lo que implica el COVID-19, pues básicamente Melbourne Polytechnic también ofrece esos programas online. Tienen de toda clase, acá hay como una muestra de cómo lo manejan ellos. Hay pues obviamente clases de meditación, clases de español, como dice Yacinta, que le va a empezar a aprender. Todo lo que tiene que ver con social media, entonces hacen workshops, hacen varios eventos online, pues teniendo en cuenta que en ese momento pues la gente está como pues, muy prevenida con todo esto del COVID-19. Entonces, esto es lo que están ofreciendo de programas online también.
And then I thought I would just kind of touch on the application process with Melbourne Poly, just vaguely, but I haven't really gone into a lot of detail about the courses today. So feel free to really ask me or even the Blue Studies team any questions about any of our courses. We have a lot, so unfortunately I don't have all the time to cover them all. But yeah, basically the first step I would say is, really researching and deciding on what you want to study with us. whether or not you're looking at a pathway or, just a direct entry into, English or a bachelor, whatever. Just deciding. And then you can submit your application through Blue Studies. They will be amazing at helping you with the process. But just so you know, you pretty much need like your passport, academic transcripts, and we need like English evidence. So sometimes, some students, they have like their IELTS or PTE test, but it's actually no problem if you don't have any English evidence. We can actually do like a free test for you. Blue Studies can help arrange that with us. But yeah, just so you know, if you don't have any English test, we can do a free test for you. And you can use that for admission into your course, or if you just need to know how much English you need to, if you're studying English. Let's say that you've submitted an application and everything's good, then you would, receive the outcome of your application. Hopefully you are successful, and then you would receive like an offer letter. And this would have the details of your study plan. So, how long you'll be studying, which campus. And then you would get your payment schedule, which would have all of your payments for the duration of your studies. And then to really accept your offer letter, you'd need to sign it and then pay your first term fee. So they'll have the first payment written on your offer letter, which you can see. Once you've made your payment, then basically we would send you a confirmation of enrollment, COE. And this is the document you'll use to apply for your visa. Usually Blue Studies help with that. So I don't really go too much into detail about that. But basically then you just start preparing for life in Melbourne. And one thing I did actually forget to mention is I always like to tell my students that once you've gone through this whole process, when you get to Melbourne, there's an enrollment process, where you need to enroll in your classes that you'll be taking. So I always just like to remind students of that, because sometimes they get a bit confused when they get to Melbourne that, they haven't, they think they've already enrolled by going through this process, but there's another process. But we have an orientation and we help you through the process. So it's nothing really to worry about. It's just more so a reminder.
Ok, no, básicamente todo esto que explica Jacinta es el proceso de aplicación. Primero, pues obviamente investigar y escoger pues la mejor opción de estudio, subir la aplicación a través de Blue Studies. Básicamente es anexar todos los documentos que aparecen acá, el pasaporte, toda la parte académica, obviamente que deben ir con todas sus traducciones respectivas, demostrar la parte del inglés si lo tienen, y si no, pues haría un placement test, que es un examen que se hace para determinar el número de semanas que necesitarían para iniciar su proceso. Básicamente ahí ya está la aplicación. Si es exitosa, pues simplemente van a recibir una carta de oferta pues con todos los detalles del plan de estudio, de los pagos. Después de que ya ustedes aceptan la carta de oferta, hacen el pago del primer term o de lo que el Melbourne Polytechnic les indique dentro de su carta de oferta. Ya después de que paguen van a recibir su COE, que es la confirmación de matrícula, que será emitida tan pronto pues se haga el pago. Y nosotros como Blue Studies les ayudamos con todo el proceso de la visa, y ya, simplemente viajar hacia Australia, hacia Melbourne. Obviamente que en estos momentos pues aún estamos esperando apertura de fronteras, pero pues esperamos que todo esto sea pues lo más pronto posible.
Okay. And just lastly, I wanted to share our social pages. So if you want to see more for Melbourne Poly, we've got, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Definitely recommending YouTube a lot at the moment, because I think everybody wants to see our campuses. So if you go onto YouTube, you'll be able to see lots of videos of our campuses and facilities, which I think that's probably what everyone wants to see. But that's really it from me, and thanks Lily for translating.
Okay.
I'm sorry don't speak Spanish, but I'll
It's
learn
good.
slowly.
Okay, thank you, Cinta, and thank you for all people. Bye-bye. Bye.
Oh, so I can go now?
Yeah.
Okay, see ya. Thank you.